I've always thought of myself as a level-headed guy. At 39, I figured I had a pretty solid grasp on life. My marriage to Emily? It was strong, or at least, that's what I believed. We'd been together for over a decade, and yeah, there were bumps along the way. But what couple doesn't have their issues, right? We'd had our fair share of challenges, sure, but overall, we balanced each other out. I worked in a corporate job, and Emily had a career of her own as a graphic designer. Our lives were relatively predictable: weekend getaways, quiet dinners, the occasional movie night. The kind of life most people might look at and say, yeah, that seems solid. We didn't argue much, and when we did, it was usually over small things, whether the dishwasher needed to be unloaded or if we had enough milk for breakfast. Nothing major. Nothing that made me think twice. But all of that changed one day when I came home earlier than expected from work. It wasn't something I had planned. I just wrapped up my day ahead of schedule and decided to head home, maybe surprise Emily. I was looking forward to a quiet evening. Emily and I had recently gone through a rough patch, nothing big, just the usual work stress and life pressures, but we'd started reconnecting more over the past few weeks. I was hoping this would be the start of more time spent together. I opened the front door and stepped inside, expecting the usual warmth of our home. The hum of the refrigerator, the soft click of keys on Emily's laptop, the faint sound of music playing from the living room speaker, our usual atmosphere. But today everything felt strangely quiet. It was too still. I immediately felt a sense of unease settle in my chest. When I walked into the living room, I saw Emily sitting on the couch, phone in hand. As soon as I stepped into her line of sight, her face froze. The way she was holding her phone was stiff, almost as if she were caught in the middle of doing something she shouldn't have been. It didn't take a genius to know that something was off. Her expression, tense, almost guilty, didn't match the casual, relaxed way she usually greeted me. Her eyes darted to the phone, then quickly back to me. She shoved it into her bag so quickly that I almost missed the motion entirely. "Hey, what's up?" I asked, trying to sound casual, though I could feel a knot forming in my stomach. "Nothing," she replied too quickly, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I paused, standing in the doorway for a moment, trying to figure out if I was imagining things. Emily was always upfront with me. No secrets between us. That's how we had built our relationship. Or so I thought. But right then, something about her behavior made me second-guess everything. Was it possible that she was hiding something? No. I pushed the thought aside. She wouldn't do that. Not Emily. She couldn't. But the tension in her voice, the way she avoided eye contact, told me something wasn't right. I wanted to press her on it, but I didn't. I didn't want to start an argument over something small. I had no proof, no solid reason to accuse her of anything. Maybe it was just a weird coincidence. I told myself it was nothing. I made a mental note of it, however. It didn't sit well with me. Still, I told myself I was being paranoid. I had been under a lot of stress at work lately, maybe I was just reading too much into it. But as the days went by, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Emily started staying later at work. And when she did come home, she seemed more distant. We'd have dinner, but it felt like she was somewhere else, like her mind was far away even though she was sitting right there with me. She wasn't the same, and I wasn't sure why. We used to spend evenings together, watching TV, talking about our day, or just hanging out. Lately, she'd retreat into her room or take a long shower, often staying in there for what felt like hours. If I asked her what she was up to, she'd brush it off with a quick, "I'm just tired," or "I've got some work to catch up on." At first, I bought it. Everyone gets tired, right? Work can be draining. But then it started happening more often. Nights when we used to be in sync, laughing over dinner, watching shows together, or just chatting, now felt empty. She seemed distant. I began to notice small things, her constant texting, the way she always kept her phone face down when I entered the room. She was no longer leaving it around like she used to. She was hiding it. Her behavior was suddenly erratic. I noticed something else. She started going out more. She'd say she was meeting friends or going to a work event, but I couldn't shake the feeling that she was doing more than that. More than just meeting friends. It wasn't the same anymore. Something was different, and I couldn't put my finger on it. There was a time when she'd ask about my day, be genuinely interested in what I had to say, and listen. Lately, though, she barely even seemed to care. She was distracted, always busy with something, always preoccupied. Even when I tried to initiate conversations, it felt like I was talking to a wall. She'd offer small, surface-level responses but never engage like she used to. She'd always hurry off, retreating into the comfort of her own space. But the final straw came one evening when she spent hours getting ready for an outing with her friends. This wasn't a casual girls' night. She took more time than usual, more time than I had seen in months. She even put on perfume, the kind she only wore when we were going somewhere special. Wow, you're really dressing up for this, I joked, trying to mask my discomfort. She gave me one of those forced smiles, the kind that didn't quite reach her eyes. Well, you know how it is. Everyone's always taking pictures for Instagram. I nodded, but the pit in my stomach only deepened. This wasn't like her. Something was wrong, and I knew it. It felt like a red flag, but I ignored it. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, not without proof. She left soon after, saying she'd be back by midnight. I tried to distract myself with a movie, but my mind kept wandering back to her. The way she'd acted earlier. The way she'd looked when she left. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was up. Around midnight, I decided to check in on her. I sent a simple text, "Hey, everything okay?" Her reply came quickly, almost too quickly. "Yeah, we're just having so much fun. I'll be back soon. Love you." The message felt strange. Emily's texts were always a bit more casual, usually with typos and shorthand. This one felt polished, too polished. It didn't sound like her. It sounded like she was reassuring me, not really telling me anything. By 2 a.m., Emily still wasn't home. I tried to keep calm, but the worry in the back of my mind was impossible to ignore. Where was she? Who was she with? Why wasn't she answering her phone? And that's when it hit me. Was she lying? Was I just being paranoid? Or was she hiding something bigger? The next morning was filled with tension. I couldn't shake the feeling of unease from the night before. Emily hadn't returned until early that morning, and when she came in, she didn't say much. Her eyes were slightly red, her makeup smudged, and she looked like she hadn't had a restful night. But instead of the usual apology or explanation, she just gave me a half-hearted smile and a "sorry, babe." Lost track of time. I wanted to press her for answers, to ask where she had been, who she had been with, but I didn't. I didn't want to be the guy who doubted his wife for no reason. Maybe I was reading too much into it. Maybe it was nothing, just a night out with friends. But everything about that situation felt off. And the doubt that had started to creep in wasn't going away. In fact, it was only growing stronger. I spent the rest of the morning in a haze. Every time Emily walked into the room, I caught myself staring at her, studying her like she was a puzzle I couldn't quite put together. There was something different about her, something I couldn't place, and it was driving me crazy. Later that afternoon, I decided to do something I never thought I would. I had to get to the bottom of it. I had to know if my suspicions were justified. So I did something that went against everything I believed in. I went through her things. I hate myself for it now. But at the time, it felt like the only way to get the answers I needed. I started with her purse, hoping maybe I could find something that would explain her strange behavior. The phone that had been so carefully hidden the day before was right there, sitting in the pocket of her bag. Without thinking, I grabbed it and unlocked it. It was a gut-wrenching decision. I knew it wasn't right, but I felt like I had no other choice. My hands shook as I scrolled through her messages. The first few were just regular conversations with her friends, nothing out of the ordinary. But then I stumbled upon something that made my heart drop. There was a message from someone named Derek, someone I didn't recognize. The tone of the conversation wasn't casual or friendly. It was flirtatious, even in asterisk mate. They were talking about meeting up the night before, about how excited they were to see each other again. There was even a part where Derek had mentioned how amazing she looked that evening. I felt like I was going to be sick. That wasn't the kind of conversation I expected to see from my wife. I hadn't seen her behave like this in years, and certainly not behind my back. The weight of what I was reading hit me hard. I kept scrolling, but everything just seemed to confirm my worst fears. There were other messages, some from earlier in the week, all with the same flirtatious undertones. It wasn't just the messages either. I found photos. Nothing explicit, but pictures of Emily looking different, more polished, more confident, smiling in ways I hadn't seen in a long time. She was with someone else. Someone she had been seeing in secret. My mind spun as I tried to process everything at once. I was filled with a combination of anger, disbelief, and a crushing sadness that I couldn't shake. This couldn't be happening. Not to us. Not to Emily and me. We had built something together. I had trusted her. I thought we were better than this. I sat there for what felt like hours, staring at the screen, unable to tear my eyes away from the evidence. The more I looked, the more it became clear. Emily had been hiding something from me for a while. She had been sneaking around behind my back, and I had been blind to it. I wasn't sure what to do next. I could feel the anger bubbling up inside me, but I knew I couldn't confront her yet, not until I had more answers. I needed to know the full extent of what had been going on. I couldn't let this slip by without understanding exactly what I was dealing with. For the next few days, I kept my distance. I didn't want to make a scene, but I couldn't stop thinking about everything I had found. Emily continued to act like nothing was wrong. She went about her routine, coming home late, texting on her phone whenever I wasn't looking. She even started spending more time at the office, using work as an excuse for her absences. She had become so good at it that I started to feel like I was the one losing my grip on reality. But the truth was I was watching her more closely now. I had to know. I couldn't just let this continue without some kind of resolution. Every time I saw her with her phone, I felt the urge to check it again, but I stopped myself. I didn't want to invade her privacy more than I already had, but I couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something more. And then, one evening after she left for another work event, I made a decision. I was going to follow her. I know it sounds crazy, but in that moment it felt like the only way to get the truth. If she wasn't being honest with me, I was going to get the answers myself. I waited until she left, made sure she was out of sight, then I jumped in my car and started driving. I kept a safe distance, just enough to follow without her noticing. My heart pounded in my chest as I drove, each passing minute dragging me closer to the truth I wasn't sure I was ready for. She drove to a part of town I didn't recognize. It was a trendy area with upscale restaurants and hotels, places I knew she didn't frequent. My stomach twisted as I saw her pull into a valet parking lot. I parked down the street, out of sight, and watched as she got out of the car. A man tall, well-dressed, was waiting for her. They exchanged a hug that lingered just a bit too long. My pulse quickened. This wasn't just a friendly greeting. There was something more there. Something an asterisk, mate. They walked inside the hotel together, disappearing from view. I sat there for a long time, my hands gripping the steering wheel. I felt sick. This wasn't just a casual encounter. I didn't know what was going on between them, but I knew it wasn't good. I couldn't follow them inside. I couldn't bring myself to do it, not just yet. I didn't know if I was ready to see what would happen next. So I just sat there watching the entrance, trying to process everything that was happening. The minutes felt like hours, and just as I was about to drive away, Emily and the man walked out of the hotel. They were laughing together, talking closely. As they approached the car, Emily reached out and touched the man's arm. It wasn't anything overtly S***Zool, but it was an asterisk mate, more an asterisk mate than I was comfortable with. My mind was racing. I wanted to confront her right then and there. I wanted to storm up to her, to ask her what was going on, to demand answers. But I stopped myself. Not yet. Not until I had everything. I couldn't make a scene until I understood what was truly happening between them. I followed her back to our neighborhood, parked a few blocks away, and waited until she was safely inside our house. Then I drove home, trying to quiet the storm of thoughts swirling in my head. When I walked into the house, the silence was deafening. I stood there for a moment, unsure of what to do next. Confrontation was inevitable, but I didn't know how to approach it. The evidence was right in front of me, her texts, the man, the hotel. But I wasn't ready to face the truth yet. It wasn't until the next day that I decided it was time. I couldn't keep living in this limbo. I had to know. Emily was going to have to face the truth just like I was. The next morning, everything felt different. The weight of what I had seen the night before, Emily and that man, hung over me like a dark cloud. I wasn't sure what I was feeling, but I knew I couldn't keep pretending like everything was fine. I had to confront her. But the question lingered in my mind. How? How would I even begin to address what had happened? What was I supposed to say? When Emily came downstairs, she seemed normal. Too normal. As if nothing had changed. She greeted me like she always did, with a half-hearted smile and a quick good morning. She kissed me on the cheek like it was just another day in the life of Jack and Emily. But I couldn't let it go. Not anymore. Can we talk? I asked, my voice unsteady but firm. She stopped mid-sip of her coffee, giving me a confused look. Sure, what's up? Sit down, I said, motioning to the couch. I needed to look at her. I needed to make her face what she had done. She hesitated but eventually sat down, looking at me curiously, probably thinking it was about something trivial. I know about Derek, I said, my words coming out colder than I intended. Her face fell. She looked away quickly, trying to hide the panic creeping into her eyes. I continued, I know you've been seeing him. I followed you last night. I saw you go to that hotel with him. I watched as the color drained from her face. Her lips parted, but no words came out. She just stared at me, looking like a deer caught in headlights. You followed me? She asked, her voice shaky, her eyes darting around the room as if searching for an escape. I had to know the truth, Emily, I replied, keeping my voice as steady as I could. I saw everything, the hug, the way you two looked at each other. It's clear this isn't just a work thing, like you've been telling me. Her gaze dropped to the floor and she let out a sigh, almost as if she were resigned to the truth. Jack, I didn't mean for this to happen. She paused, trying to find the right words, but I could see the guilt on her face. She had no excuse. Then how long has this been going on? I asked, my heart pounding in my chest. How long have you been seeing him behind my back? She shifted uncomfortably on the couch, her fingers nervously playing with the hem of her shirt. It started a few months ago. At first, it was just innocent. We talked during breaks at work, just chat about life, you know? But then it became more. I started feeling something for him. It wasn't intentional. It just happened. I could feel the anger welling up inside me, but I kept it in check. So, this was just some emotional affair? That's what you're telling me. Her eyes filled with tears as she nodded. I never meant to hurt you, Jack. I swear. But when you were always so caught up in your work, I started to feel invisible. Derek made me feel seen. He listened to me. He made me feel alive. The words she was saying hit me like a punch to the gut. Alive? I repeated, my voice cold with disbelief. You needed him to make you feel alive? And you couldn't come to me, your husband? You couldn't talk to me about how you were feeling. I didn't know how she whispered, her voice barely audible. I thought it was just a phase, that I would snap out of it. But when it didn't stop, she broke off, her voice catching in her throat. I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't know how to fix it. I stood up, pacing the room, trying to control the rage building inside me. How could you let this go on for so long? All those nights you stayed late at work, all those times you said you were just tired. How long was this going on behind my back? She took a deep breath, wiping her eyes. A few months. It wasn't just physical. We didn't sleep together. I swear. It was just emotional. I know that doesn't make it better, but that's the truth. It never went beyond talking and meeting up for coffee, but I've been lying to you, Jack. And I'm so sorry. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It felt like the world was crashing down around me. I had trusted Emily. We had built something together, something I thought was unshakable. But now all of that was shattered. I didn't know who she was anymore. Do you love him? I asked, my voice low, the words almost too painful to say. She hesitated. It wasn't a hesitation of uncertainty, it was a hesitation because she knew the truth. I don't know, she whispered. I don't know anymore. I thought I did, but now. I just feel confused. I feel terrible. I've hurt you, Jack, and I don't know how to make it right. I felt a lump form in my throat. The thought of her being with someone else, of her choosing him over me, was unbearable. But what hurt even more was that she couldn't even admit she loved him. She had been so selfish, so consumed with her own emotions that she had lost sight of everything we had built together. Do you even care about me anymore? I asked, my voice cracking. I do, Jack, she said, her voice trembling. I care about you more than you know. I've just been so lost in everything, I didn't realize how much I was hurting you. I never wanted to betray you like this. I stood there, trying to process everything she had just said. I had never imagined a situation like this. I never thought Emily, my Emily, could betray me like this. It was hard to accept. It was almost impossible to believe. You don't get to hurt me like this and then expect me to just forgive you, Emily, I said, my voice cold and steady. You've destroyed everything. You've broken my trust and I don't know how to move forward from this. She reached out for me, her hand trembling. Jack, please. Don't give up on us. We can fix this. We can go to therapy, we can talk through everything. I want to make things right. Please don't walk away. But I wasn't sure I could. I wasn't sure I could forgive her. Not after everything. The trust we had was gone, shattered beyond repair. I can't, Emily, I said, shaking my head. I don't know if I can trust you again. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way. Her face crumpled as she began to sob. I'm so sorry, Jack. I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I love you. Please, don't let this be the end. I turned away, feeling a cold emptiness take hold of me. I don't know what to do anymore. I don't know if I can keep living like this with this doubt, this pain. I need time. I need space. Emily nodded, her shoulders shaking with the weight of her guilt. I understand. I'll give you the space you need. I'll do whatever it takes. But I wasn't sure what whatever it takes meant. I wasn't sure if I could ever look at her the same way again. The days that followed were strange. It felt like I was living in some sort of fog, just going through the motions of everyday life. Emily and I didn't really talk much. I think we were both avoiding the inevitable, the conversation we knew we needed to have but couldn't quite bring ourselves to address. I went to work each day, though it felt like I wasn't really there. My mind kept drifting back to that night when I saw Emily with Derek. I couldn't shake the image of them together, laughing, the way they looked at each other. The way she looked at him. Every time I walked into the house, it felt different. It wasn't the home I had known for the past 12 years. The place felt like a ghost town, filled with memories of a life I wasn't sure was real anymore. I kept expecting to see Emily there, smiling, waiting to talk things through, but it never happened. Emily tried to be patient. She'd leave me notes in the kitchen, small apologies that she'd scribbled out with her usual care. I'm sorry, Jack. Please don't give up on us. Or, I love you and I'll do whatever it takes to make things right. I didn't know what making things right meant. Could I trust her again? Could I ever look at her the same way? The pain was suffocating and I wasn't sure if I could bear it. One night, after a particularly silent dinner, Emily sat down next to me on the couch, her face flushed, her eyes filled with a mixture of hope and desperation. She had been trying so hard to fix what she had broken, but I could see the doubt in her eyes. She wasn't sure if I was still there, if I still saw her as the woman I married or as the woman who had betrayed me. Jack, she said softly, her voice trembling. I know I've hurt you and I don't know if you'll ever forgive me, but please just tell me if there's a chance we can fix this. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. I didn't look at her. Instead, I stared at the TV, but I wasn't seeing anything. My mind was 1,000 miles away, stuck in the past, stuck in the betrayal. I don't know if we can, Emily, I replied, my voice distant like I was speaking to a stranger. I don't know if I can ever get over this. I don't know if I can trust you again. How do you expect me to just move past everything? I don't know, she said quietly. I don't know what the answer is. I love you, Jack. I made a horrible mistake and I wish I could take it back. But I can't. All I can do is try to make it right. I felt my chest tighten. The tears that had been threatening to spill for days finally came. I didn't even try to hide them. I don't even know who you are anymore, Emily. You've changed. You've become someone I don't recognize. And I don't know if I can live with that. Her face crumpled. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I never wanted to hurt you. I was lost. And I should have come to you. I should have talked to you instead of running away. I could see the pain in her eyes. I could see that she was genuinely sorry. But it didn't change anything. The trust, the bond that had taken years to build, was gone. It was a painful realization, but it was the truth. And no amount of apologies would change that. I don't know what to do, I whispered, my voice barely audible. I don't know if I can fix this. I don't know if I can ever go back to the way we were. We sat in silence for a while. The weight of our words hung heavily in the air, unspoken. Finally, Emily stood up, taking a step back from the couch as though the space between us was growing too wide. I understand. I'll give you space, Jack. But I need you to know that I'm here. And I'll always be here. If you decide you want to try, if you want to work through this, I'll be waiting. She walked away without saying anything more. And for the first time in a long time, I felt alone, truly alone. This wasn't just about forgiveness anymore. It was about whether or not I could live with the reality of what had happened. Could I live with the fact that Emily, the woman I had spent more than a decade with, had chosen someone else over me? Could I ever see her the same way again? I didn't have the answers. I didn't even know where to start. Over the next few days, I threw myself into work. I didn't want to think about Emily, didn't want to face her or the mess we were in. Every time I came home, I saw the same painful reminder that our life was no longer the same. The house was too quiet. The walls too bare. And Emily, she was the ghost that haunted every corner of the house. But then something happened that made everything feel even worse. I was going through some of our old things in the attic, trying to sort through the memories of our past when I came across a box of old letters and photographs. I opened it, looking at the photos of us, smiling at the camera, happy in a way that seemed so distant now. There were pictures from our vacations, from holidays, even some random ones we'd taken together during lazy afternoons. And then, buried under those photos, I found something that made my blood run cold, a card, a simple one, written by Emily. It was from our anniversary 3 years ago, and I had forgotten about it. She had written how much she loved me, how much I meant to her, and how thankful she was for the life we had built. Reading it again, I felt the sting of betrayal all over again. How could she write that? How could she have said all of those things to me, knowing what she was doing behind my back? It hit me hard, too hard. I shoved the card back into the box and slammed the lid shut as if locking away all those memories would make the pain go away. But it didn't. It was still there, gnawing at me. The betrayal was too fresh, too raw. I walked downstairs, trying to calm myself down, but every step felt like a burden. When I entered the living room, I found Emily sitting there, waiting for me. She looked so small, like she was waiting for something, waiting for me to make a decision. I stood in the doorway watching her, trying to figure out what to say. But the words wouldn't come. All I could think about was the betrayal, the lies, the broken trust. I can't do this anymore, Emily, I finally said, the words heavy with finality. I don't know if I can fix this. I don't know if I want to. I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again. Her face fell. She stood up, reaching for me, but I took a step back. I couldn't let her get too close. I needed space. I needed to think. Jack, please, she begged, her voice breaking. Don't give up on us. Please, I'll do anything. I'll prove to you that I can change. I swear. I shook my head, my chest tight with emotion. I don't know if I can believe you, Emily. I don't know if I can ever trust you again. The days after the conversation felt like a blur. Emily kept trying to reach out, leaving me messages, emails, and notes. I couldn't escape her attempts to mend things, but every time I saw her trying, it only made me feel more frustrated. The pain of betrayal wasn't something that could be fixed with a few apologies or acts of kindness. The damage had been done. I could see her trying, I could see her regret, but the truth was I wasn't sure if I could get over it. There was a part of me that wanted to forgive her. I loved her, I truly did. We had been through so much together. But as the days wore on, the weight of her actions became harder and harder to ignore. Every time I saw her, every time I looked into her eyes, I couldn't help but see Derek there. I could feel the betrayal pulsing between us like a wound that refused to heal. I kept thinking about the life we had built, the memories we had shared. The vacations, the laughter, the quiet moments when it was just the two of us. All of it had been real, or at least I thought it was. But now I wasn't so sure. Emily continued to give me space, though I could tell she was on the edge of breaking. She kept asking for a chance to fix things, for a chance to prove that she was still the woman I had fallen in love with. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I wasn't sure if I could trust her again. The phone calls, the late nights, the secrecy, all of it had shattered the foundation of our relationship. How could I ever feel the same way about her? How could I ever believe her words when her actions had spoken so much louder? One evening, about a week after the last conversation we had, Emily came home later than usual. I had been pacing the house, restless, unable to focus on anything. I had tried to dive into work, to lose myself in the tasks of the day, but it never worked. The thoughts of Emily and Derek kept creeping in, taking over my mind. When she came in, she was visibly exhausted, her shoulders slumped. She didn't even try to put on a smile this time. She knew it wouldn't work. We had reached a point where words didn't matter anymore. "Hey," she said quietly, walking into the living room. I stood there, my back to her, my arms crossed, unsure of what to say. The silence between us had become so thick it was almost suffocating. "Jack," she whispered, "can we talk?" I didn't turn to look at her. Instead, I kept my eyes fixed on the wall in front of me. "What's there to talk about, Emily?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. "You've already said everything you needed to say. What else can we discuss?" "I don't know, but I need you to understand something," she replied, her voice shaky. "I'm so sorry. I know what I did was unforgivable. But I swear, I never meant for it to get this far. I never wanted to hurt you. I don't know what happened. I was lost. And I don't know how to fix it." Her words were filled with desperation, but they didn't move me the way they used to. I could see that she was genuinely sorry, but the truth was I couldn't get past the fact that she had made a choice. She had chosen Derek over me. She had betrayed me. And no amount of tears or apologies could undo the damage. I finally turned to face her, my expression cold. "I don't know how to look at you anymore, Emily. I don't know how to believe anything you say. Everything we had, it's been destroyed. And I'm not sure if I can live with that." She took a step forward, her hand reaching out as if she were desperate for something, anything that would stop the pain. But I couldn't let her close. "Not like this. I've been thinking a lot, Jack," she said, her voice trembling. "And I know I've messed up. I've been selfish. I should have come to you, I should have told you how I was feeling. But I didn't. I went to Derek because he made me feel something, he made me feel seen. But that wasn't right. It wasn't fair to you. I know that now. And I'm so sorry. I can't keep hearing the same apology over and over again," I replied, my words flat and emotionless. "It doesn't change anything. It doesn't change what you did." She flinched at my words as if they were a physical blow. I could see the hurt in her eyes, the regret, but I couldn't bring myself to feel sorry for her. She had done this to herself. And now I had to face the consequences of her actions. "I know," she said quietly, wiping her eyes. "I don't expect you to forgive me. But I'm asking you, please, give me a chance to prove that I can be the woman you fell in love with again." I shook my head, my frustration building. "You don't get it, do you? You can't just erase what you did. You can't just fix this with a few nice words. It doesn't work like that, Emily." She looked down, tears streaming down her face as she nodded. I know it's not that easy. I don't expect it to be. I just need you to know that I'm sorry. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make it right." Her words were sincere. I could see that she truly regretted her actions. But that didn't change the fact that the trust between us was gone. It had been broken beyond repair, and no matter how hard she tried, I wasn't sure if I could ever get it back. I stood there in silence for a long moment, weighing my options. Could I move past this? Could I ever look at her the same way again? Could I forgive her for what she had done? I knew the answer deep down. I didn't know if I could. I think we need time apart, I said finally, my voice breaking with the weight of the decision. I need to think. I need to figure out what I want. And I need space from all of this. From you, from everything. Emily's face crumpled at my words and I could see the pain in her eyes. She stepped back as if my words had physically pushed her away. Jack, please, she whispered, but I couldn't let myself be swayed. I'm sorry, Emily, I said, shaking my head. But I need time. I can't keep doing this. I watched as she stood there, broken, before slowly turning away and leaving the room. I could hear her footsteps echoing in the hallway and I knew that whatever came next, it wouldn't be the same. I was alone. The silence in the house was deafening. The weight of my decision hit me all at once, and for the first time in a long time I allowed myself to feel the pain. The betrayal. The hurt. I didn't know what the future held. I didn't know if I could move forward with Emily or if we were done. But one thing was certain, I had to figure it out. The life I thought I knew had crumbled before me and now I had to rebuild. I didn't know how long it would take or what I would find at the end of this journey, but for the first time in a long time I was taking control. And it was terrifying. Days turned into weeks and I found myself stuck in the same agonizing limbo. Emily had moved into the guest room, though she hadn't officially left. The tension in the house was unbearable, as if the walls were closing in on me. The space between us was thick with unsaid words. We passed each other in the hallway, barely making eye contact. We spoke when we had to, when it was about something trivial, but the deep, meaningful conversations we used to have were long gone. It was clear Emily was struggling, but so was I. She wanted to make amends. She asked for forgiveness every chance she got, but I wasn't sure I could forgive her. I wasn't even sure I wanted to try. The pain of seeing her in the guest room, distant and sad, made me question everything. Could I ever trust her again? Could I ever look at her and not see Derek? Could we go back to the way things were? One night, after a long, silent dinner, Emily finally broke the silence. She sat across from me at the dining table, her face pale, her eyes red from crying. Jack, she began softly, her voice shaking, I need to be honest with you. I need to tell you everything. I looked at her warily, feeling a knot form in my stomach. What do you mean? She took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts, and then spoke again. I never told you the whole truth. About Derek. About everything. And I think you deserve to know. Her voice faltered as she said his name. I braced myself for whatever was coming. Part of me didn't want to hear it, but the other part knew I had to. This was the moment that could either bring me closer to closure or tear me apart even more. It wasn't just emotional, Jack, she whispered. We were together physically. It started a few months ago after the first time we hung out. I felt guilty at first, but then it felt good. He made me feel wanted, important. And I wasn't getting that from you. I know that doesn't excuse it, but it's the truth. I betrayed you. I betrayed us. My heart sank. The world seemed to shift beneath me. I had suspected something, but hearing the full confession was like a punch in the gut. I stared at her, not knowing what to say, my mind reeling. She had taken our entire relationship and thrown it away for someone else. For something that, as much as she tried to explain, wasn't just a momentary lapse. How long, Emily? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, the words tasting bitter on my tongue. How long has this been going on? She hesitated, guilt washing over her face. About 6 months, she admitted, tears welling in her eyes. We met for drinks, then we started seeing each other more often. I never meant to hurt you, Jack, but I didn't know how to stop it. It just spiraled. I felt my chest tighten, the weight of her words suffocating me. She hadn't just flirted with him. She had slept with him. I couldn't process it all at once. I wanted to scream, to lash out, but I stayed silent, struggling to keep myself together. And what now? I asked finally, my voice hoarse with emotion. What do you want me to do with this, Emily? What do you expect from me? I don't know, she whispered, her voice cracking. I just wanted to be honest with you. I couldn't live with the lies anymore. I love you, Jack, and I want to try to fix this. But I understand if you don't want that. I'll leave if you need me to. I don't want to lose you. I couldn't answer immediately. I needed time, space to process what she had just told me. The trust between us was broken beyond repair. Could I ever forgive her for what she had done? Could I ever move past the fact that she had betrayed me not once, but over and over again? I had to face the reality that our relationship might never be the same. No matter how much Emily wanted to fix things, the truth was I wasn't sure if I could trust her again. The love I once had for her felt hollow, like a faded memory I could no longer reach. The days that followed her confession were filled with uncertainty. Emily kept her distance, giving me the space I had asked for, but I could feel the weight of her presence in every corner of the house. It was impossible to ignore. I spent my days in a haze, unable to focus on anything. My work suffered, and even the simple tasks around the house felt like mountains I couldn't climb. The house, once our sanctuary, now felt like a prison. Every room was filled with memories that felt tainted, broken. Emily, on the other hand, was trying everything. She had started therapy. She was going to counseling, trying to prove to me that she was willing to do whatever it took to fix our marriage. But as much as I wanted to believe her, I couldn't shake the feeling that it was too late. I spent days thinking about the future, about whether I could ever look at her the same way again. Whether I could forgive her. But as the weeks passed, I realized something. It wasn't just about forgiveness. It was about me. It was about finding a way to heal, to move on, whether or not Emily was in the picture. I had spent so much time focusing on her, on trying to fix something that had already been shattered, that I had forgotten about myself. I had to make a choice. One evening, after a long day of being alone with my thoughts, I called Emily into the living room. She came in cautiously, her eyes filled with hope, but also with fear. She knew what this conversation could mean. "Emily," I began, my voice steady but heavy, "I've been thinking a lot about what you said. About everything. And I've realized something." Her eyes widened and she took a step closer. "Jack, please. Whatever you decide, I'm ready. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this." I shook my head, my heart breaking at the sight of her desperation. "I don't know if we can fix this, Emily. I don't know if I can ever get past what you've done. The trust is gone. The love, it's not the same. I can't live with this doubt anymore." She looked down, tears streaming down her face. "I understand," she whispered. "I knew this might happen. I didn't know what else to do. I love you, Jack. I always have." I took a deep breath, my decision finally made. "I think we need to take some time apart. I need to figure out who I am without this relationship. I need to find myself again. I'm not sure where that leads, but I can't keep living in this limbo." Her face crumpled in grief, but she nodded. "I understand," she whispered again, her voice barely audible. "I'll go. I'll give you the space you need.